Yaron Sachs, Pastor John, I want to thank you so much for being with us and sharing and revealing some moments of your journey in the Holy Land together with Yaron Sachs. Another story from the last 20 days visiting here all around Israel. By the way, the trip was, give me please a short summary of the locations, Yaron.
From Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv.
Through Mitzpe Ramon, through Eilat, through Chatzeva, sleeping also in the desert in Tzimerim, and not only in hotels. We have a complete experience. Jeeps in the desert, Dead Sea, Be'er Sheva,
Wow.
Jerusalem, up to Haifa, up to the Galilee, in Ma'alot, in Hacienda, up to Tveria, so Ramat HaGolan, the Golan Heights. So we can literally say from Dan to Eilat.
With lots of stories and lots of locations that you were telling them. One story that moved you as a tourist guide?
Going deep into the desert with jeeps, with Jewish drivers and a Bedouin guide and driver, and hearing the stories from the perspective of the Bedouins who still maintain a lifestyle like our father Abraham, and from Jewish people like myself, with always the connection between the Old and the New Testament, always the possibilities, understanding things, simple things like the Old Testament is called in Hebrew Tanakh, and translated it's Habrit HaYeshana. And the Ark of the Covenant, the Old Covenant, is actually made from acacia wood covered in gold. Now acacia wood, acacia, is very thorny. It has big thorns, some of them like this big. And the new covenant that we have, Abrit HaChadashah, we say it's a covenant in the blood of Yeshua Mashiach, in the blood of Christ. And the crown of thorns that he had, which is so famous, is also acacia wood, acacia, those thorns penetrating his forehead, and now the new covenant is in his blood. The same tree is used in both Tanakh and the new covenant. So I love finding these connections between old and new and talking about them.
Everything we do and everywhere we go is hugely impacting. And so to try and single out one particular story is really challenging. But I think this time I had two high points, so I'm going to tell two. The first one was in Beersheba, where we have history as New Zealanders from 1917, where we were part of the expeditionary force that attacked Beersheba.
There's New Zealand blood.
Yeah.
In the ground.
Wow.
In Beersheba.
Yeah.
Fighting the Turks.
And so the New Zealand and the Australian light infantry, mounted infantry, actually came through the desert and attacked the positions of the Turks from an unexpected direction, and actually were able to get under the guns because they charged on their horses and overcame the Turkish forces and took Beersheba. And so there is a new museum now at the military cemetery in Beersheba that commemorates this with the New Zealanders and Australians. That was a real high point for me. It's brand new. It's only been open about a year.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't seen it before, and it was very moving. A very good commentary by an Australian guide there, all about what happened, how it happened. And that was a very special and a very unique experience for a New Zealander coming from the uttermost parts of the earth to see what our guys did 101 years ago, to be a part of seeing Israel restored to the Jewish people. So,
and in the large group that was there, they were also very moved.
oh, absolutely, very much so. All New Zealanders that come do not know
Yes.
that they are a part of the story. Most of us have not been taught this in our history. And so when we bring New Zealanders here, it's always very moving when they find out this part of the story.
You know, it's interesting because even here in the Holy Land, not many Israelis are aware of this unique part of their history that involved also the help of New Zealandian and Australian
Yes, yes.
in the history of Israel.
Yeah.
You were promising 2 stories.
The other place, and it caught me quite by surprise this time, but we took our team to Yad Vashem.
Oh.
And as I was kind of introducing them to that place, we went to the Children's Memorial first. And the whole place is a very moving place, but I found myself being totally overcome with the emotion of that 1.5 million children that were genocided during the Second World War. And I had a very holy moment there that I can't really explain, except that I felt a very deep sadness in God's heart for what was done. So I can't really explain it any more than that, except that every one of us that went there, and it doesn't matter how many times you go, is impacted by just the huge tragedy of the Holocaust. And we all comment to one another how we need to see these things and be reminded to be sure that we never let it happen again to any group of people, let alone to the Jews. So.
Amen.
While you're leading the tour to Yad Vashem in Jerusalem, how can you explain, tell the story, in the biblical aspect or the more modern one of what is happening for all of us who are believers?
Well, as believers, we know that we have a choice. And if we choose to leave God and God's protection, then terrible things can happen to us, like the Holocaust. As believers, we know that there is God, but there's also a devil, and he will chase us. And the bigger our faith, the bigger a target the devil points on our back, paints on our back, and tries to get us. And we know for sure that the Holocaust can only happen when good men do nothing. So if nobody in Europe did anything, maybe Hitler would succeed. But God raised up all these righteous people, Chasidei Umot HaOlam, righteous Gentiles, who did amazing things to help Jewish people. Sometimes it was only prayer, because you are so far away, you are in Canada or you are somewhere and you're not even in Europe, and all you can do is pray. But praying is also action. And sometimes it's doing things like smuggling children out of the ghettos and finding places to hide them and many other things. Those Gentiles are celebrated in Yad Vashem.
And I want to thank you very much also for sharing these unique moments during the journey with Yaron Sachs here in the Holy Land. Thank you so much.
Thank you.